Welcome back to our post-election coverage on Explore Grant County. Brought my brother back for this to go over kind of the main ones, the winners, good showings, things like that. There were some surprises, close races, some new people, new faces. So why don't we start with, because there was something that was very interesting, and I have not got to tell you this yet, so this is new to you. When I had first reached out to you and I was like, hey, Angela Eyman won for the 14th district.
Okay.
I forgot to take into account that is more than just Grant County. Those were her Grant County totals.
Okay.
So it did show actually that the videos worked because she is the only one that agreed to be interviewed.
And what is that position for? It
was 14th District Senate.
State Senate.
Yes. And so it was Angela Eyman, J.R. Keplinger, Jay Taylor, and James Lowe.
Okay.
That's who the four that were running. Angela's the only one to agree to come. And in Grant County, she received 931 votes, almost 400 more than the next closest person.
How many counties was the 14th district? What does that include?
I think she told me, if I remember, it was like 4
okay.
and like a half or 5.5, something like that. But the winner of that ended up being Jay Taylor. Now, if you look at the numbers, Jay Taylor only had 148 votes in Grant County.
Yeah.
Now, I also must say that Angela lives in Grant County now.
Sure, right?
Yes, but she's originally from Mineral County. So that's our first race there, Jay Taylor being the winner of the 14th district there, beating Angela Eyman, J.R. Keplinger, and James Lowe.
Okay. Where's Jay Taylor from?
I do not know that, and I don't know him. No J.R. Keplinger from Moorfield. Do not know James Lowe either.
Okay.
In Grant County, he only received 57 votes. So you can see how much Angela actually covered in Grant County.
Yeah.
So that was kind of, I mean, unless you knew those people, I don't want to say it wasn't important. What's the word I'm looking for? But unless you knew those people, that was a hard one to vote for.
Understood. Especially if it's from 4 different counties, 4.5 different counties. So yeah.
Or to get a read on it too.
True.
Who's doing the voting. The next one that I liked to see, because when I did all the election coverage, it gives us a running tally of how many views each video had.
Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, whoever had the most views was actually the winner.
So what does that mean to the layperson?
I have no clue. I just know that last night I was at a Chamber of Commerce meeting and someone asked me who's going to win. And I said, well, I'll tell you the 4 people that have got the most views. And that's who I would say would win. And it actually did turn out that way.
So I wonder if that means, and this is speculation obviously, but I wonder if that means that people certainly went and they liked to hear and see the candidate. Or maybe they only went and watched the candidate they were going to vote for. I don't know. It could mean a million different things.
Yeah,
obviously,
it could.
So.
It could. I do think it got the word out. If you see some of these numbers that we pulled in was very good.
Agreed.
But I did have 2 people actually messaged me and thanked us for the election coverage to help make an informed choice.
Good.
So all I can say is,
were they not people running for office?
No.
They were just people that were voting.
Just people that were voting.
Good.
They called or messaged and said it was nice to be able to see what the candidates stood for, hear the questions, and then be able to make an informed choice.
How many? I wasn't there. How many people came out for the? What was it? It was at the Landis Art Center.
I don't know.
They had that evening.
They had the Meet the Candidate.
Yeah. I wonder how many came out for that.
I don't know. I do not know. So let's go to first off. Even though it was considered a, and the term just escaped me. It's an election, just left me. Before the real election, what's that called? Primary.
Sure.
Just went blank. So, but let's do the 2 groups that it was the real election.
Okay.
It did decide.
Very good.
I did some research today to find that out.
Tell me what they are, because I
will.
And just for the record, I don't live in Grant County.
Yeah.
I live in Hardy County. So
the first one was the county clerk.
okay,
That is done, decided.
okay,
It was the election for it.
very good.
And Laura Bennett beat Dean Heiser by a very wide margin.
Yeah.
Very wide margin. And if you look at the views and the voting numbers, like the spread, is close to the same. So that was like one that you could almost tell what was going to happen looking at the views. And I'm not saying this happens every year or will, but I just found it interesting.
And Laura works at the office now,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So she already has some background. And am I speaking incorrectly? Was Dean's father in that role previously?
I'm almost positive he was.
Okay, I was because
Yes.
I even though I live in Hardy County, I live 1 mile from the Grant County border, so I hear a lot. So I thought his father was in that role or something similar.
So two people, kind of, you could say they knew what they had background in it, knew what they were doing. Laura Bennett comes out on top, 1,425 votes compared to Dean with 847 votes on that. So if you haven't got the vote totals, this will be breaking news for you.
Nice.
The second one that I did not know was Board of Education.
What is that?
That is a settled vote. They do
Okay.
not now go to the November vote.
Okay.
So the winners are the new Board of Education members.
Okay.
We had, of course, Milroy.
There was
and
2
Grant.
districts, right? Yeah.
2 districts, and there were 2 from Milroy and 1 from Grant. Or I have that backwards. I think I'm right on that.
I should have written notes because I'm going from memory.
I'm going from memory.
I'm going from memory at
I'm
this
pretty
point.
sure I'm right because I was thinking Grant was Petersburg, and they're like, no, Milroy's the Petersburg area, kind of.
Okay.
But watch me be backwards. But the 2 that were running against each other were Janie Berg and Jared Alt, and that was the most hotly contested battle of the whole election. And they were both running for one position, so there had to be one person elected.
I think, did his wife just not have a baby last week?
I think so.
I think
I did see that.
I think from following on Facebook.
Yeah. And so if you did not hear what the vote total was, Jared Alt pulled out the victory against Janie Berg by 1 vote.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. 1,093 to 1,092. That's close.
So here's my question. Do you do a recount? Like, is that done in local
That's a good
government?
question, because there are some paper ballots. You had your choice of paper or
Electronic.
machine. Electronic. So I guess that is something that can be done. I don't know what the rules are for when it is close. I know in some districts and things like that, if it's within a certain number, they automatically go into a recount.
Gotcha.
I don't know that here. Actually, our new county
vote.
clerk would know that.
Would that be Laura?
That would fall now, not for this election, but yeah, from here on out.
Okay.
that falls under her purview. She probably
So 1 vote.
no,
Wow.
1 vote.
Wow.
1 vote, and then even though it was running in a different seat, Pandy Barr came in at 1,091. So one vote
less,
even though she was in a different area. So Pandy, Ashley Cleaver, and Hubcap, I call him because a lot of people know him Hubcap, but Matt Allenson, they were the 3 running for 2 seats.
Okay.
So 2 of those elected would win, and then the other wouldn't.
So Pandy was an incumbent,
Yes.
and then Ashley and Hubcap were running. Who were they replacing?
Carla Capozzi.
And she was not running, correct?
She was not running.
Okay.
Correct. Yes.
And so Ashley had enough votes to get that position.
Correct.
Okay.
Ashley came in with the victory there for the 2nd seat
Wow.
with 1,007 votes, and it was still close. Hubcap 923. So by no means were these,
Yeah.
not like Laura and Dean where it was a wide margin. These were all close. And
Wow.
if you look at the views, for the most part, they did predict the winner once again. They did predict it. And the only one that was a little off was between Jared and Janie. Jared had way more views.
Yeah.
But in the votes,
Almost 300.
Yeah, in the
Wow.
votes though, one vote.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So what if Janie's husband didn't wake up and didn't vote? I wonder what it's like being her husband.
Janie's husband will be buried. He'll be sleeping with the fishes.
Why didn't you vote? Why didn't you vote? So
One vote.
isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
Wow.
that is. Yeah. So close races.
Unbelievable.
There.
And even have Pandy one vote. I mean, those 1091, 1092, 1093. That
Yeah.
was. There was a lot of view on the Board of Education, so that's interesting.
What I would love to know is the voting amounts, and I'm sure we'll hear that eventually, compared to 2 years ago.
Previous?
What was it? Did more people come out? I know I'm not speaking out against any of the candidates. I just know that the masking, the way the virtual was, that
Yeah, the
a lot
pandemic.
of parents, on either side
Mhm.
of the issue, they didn't like or didn't think it went far enough. Some went too far. So I wonder if more people came out with that to vote. Then it's a good thing I called the courthouse today to do my research. Thank you for answering all my questions. The Greene County Commissioner
Yep.
can be ran against, but
From a different party?
not from a Democrat. So only an independent could run.
Okay.
The Democrat had their runoff, and there was no Democrat that ran.
Okay.
So no Democrat can be in the November election.
Okay.
So unless an independent comes forth, then the winner here will be running unopposed.
Okay.
And that was Kevin Haggerty
Mm-hmm.
in another very tight race.
Yeah, close.
Kevin had 742 votes. Wes had 676, and that's Wes Alexander.
Mm-hmm.
And Tara Pratt had 640. So still only like 100 votes separating first and third.
Yeah.
So very tightly contested.
So he won the Republican nomination.
So he still technically has to run in November, but
Who's-
he might be running unopposed.
Yeah, I was gonna say who's he going against, but it would be honest. But
independent.
who's he replacing?
Oh, you asked me too quick.
Because there's 3 of them now.
Yes.
There's Scotty. Tyson.
What's his name? Oh, I can't remember. That's terrible. I see him. I can't remember his name. But he retired.
Mhm.
He decided not to run again.
Gotcha. Okay, wow. They were close.
Yeah, really close.
And Kevin had the most views of anybody for
Yeah.
that. So that was
And
interesting.
so they all held. The people with the most views ended up
winning their
with the
seat.
most votes,
Wow.
winning their seats.
It's interesting.
Except for Angela Iman. She
Because
had the
it
most
was-
views.
Yeah, it was
She
only
the
Grant
only one,
County.
but she was Grant County. She did have the most votes in Grant County.
Understood. Okay.
So, and if you look at the numbers, some of them are close. The views close to what the votes were.
Mm-hmm.
Like Ashley Cleaver, 1,007 votes, 1,200 views.
Yeah.
Really close.
You know what's interesting though, going back to Angela, Jay, you said Jay won it.
Yes,
She beat him by almost 800 votes.
I know.
So I'm
In Grant County,
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
just curious. What are the other counties?
Well, maybe Jay is from one of those bigger counties and carried the county majorly.
yeah,
I mean, see, she would carry, you would think, her home county,
correct.
and maybe he's from Mineral. I don't know where he's from. Maybe he's from Mineral. Mineral has more people, and he got 1,500 votes. I
Gotcha.
don't know.
Wow, that was fun, and a big thanks to Grant Memorial Hospital.
Yes,
for
sponsoring.
Correct.
We
yeah.
would love Grant Memorial Hospital. We would love to have you sponsor in 2 years. That will be more elections. I think Board of Education will be up again. One seat, I believe, would be Kelly Roby. We will have another county commissioner, I believe, that will be up in 2 years.
So here's the big question: how many views do we have for all of the candidates?
If you count in Angela Imans, which I forgot to put on there, we
Yeah.
were just shy of 10,000.
Wow, that's a lot of views.
Yeah.
Very cool.
10,000 views for the election coverage. So I'm really thank you everyone who listened.
Yes, our listeners
for sending the
viewers.
questions. You know, we had people sending questions. So some of them, you know, were questions that, you know, the viewers had sent in that I asked, and I do appreciate that because they got to hear what was on their mind.
Correct.
You know,
That's what it's all about.
yeah.
Transparency, being real, being honest, and letting the candidates
And
speak out.
that's what
so.
we were trying to do. That's why we contacted every candidate and made sure that the candidates had the same questions. We weren't pushing a candidate.
Yeah.
We were just trying to inform people and let their voices be heard, which is what an election is about. And like I said, when we did the election coverage, a lot of the problem and issue is I might know somebody, I'm going to vote for them. I don't know what they're running on. You know, what is it? Is it important to me? Maybe
You mean you just don't vote for your friend or your family? Is that not what you do?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. So, funny story. My mother-in-law told me that she talked to all of her friends, and they were writing me in as candidate for assessor.
You're not on here.
I don't even know if it was up for vote or if it's not until November.
Gotcha.
But she's trying to write me in as a assessor.
Have
I'm
you
like,
have
"Oh,
you
thank you
talked with the county to see how many votes you had?
No, but I think I don't know if they post them all in the press, but it'll be funny if it's like J.R. Murray, 1 vote,
Yeah.
right in.
They'll do that, won't they?
I guess they'll give because on the papers that I saw online, it just said write-in candidates.
Okay.
And showed how many votes for write-in candidates.
Nice.
So I was like,
Nice.
what made you do that, mother-in-law? You know, she's like, I just think you'd be good for it. So I have a good mother-in-law. She loves me.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. So that's what did you think of that? Were you shocked that the numbers followed the views?
I thought that was interesting. Also, though, like yesterday when I drove through town, Kevin and Laura, I saw their signs. People had their signs at the red light. I'm not saying that made a difference or when I just saw people holding their signs. That's what stuck out to me. And both of them won their race. So, like I said, I don't know if that matters, but I drove through town and I noticed that.
Yeah,
so.
well, it can serve as a memory
Mhm.
for someone.
True.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You know, and I put it on my schedule. My wife and I talked about it, and we were like, okay, as soon as you get off work, we're going to go, we're going to vote. And, but yeah, if you're just driving by and you're like, oh, it's election.
Well, who did you vote for? Are you? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I voted
I'm
for
kidding.
Kevin and Wes and Tara, all of them.
You voted
together.
for all three of them?
Yeah, yeah.
So this isn't Illinois.
Oh.
This
I thought
is-
it was like that documentary,
This is-
2,000 Mules, where I just went around and ballot harvest for all of them.
That's on Facebook. That's being flagged as false information already.
It
so.
is already. I know.
I don't know what the truth is, obviously, but it's very bizarre. Very bizarre.
You know, if you're just curious, go ahead and watch it.
Is it on YouTube or Netflix or?
I don't know where it's at,
Okay.
but I'm sure you can. Well, you can't Google it because you might have to DuckDuckGo it.
Okay.
But what I found was interesting is that they were able to ping. It was like 2 trillion cell phone, not cell phones, but cell phone signals.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been multiple from one to track people walking by the ballot box and then walking to a Democrat office. And that's what they're saying. But
Gotcha.
we asked Laura about that. Laura and Dean, both, about voter integrity because they're responsible. Well,
Mhm.
Laura is now responsible for voter integrity in Greene County. So that's, it's a topic that I was just listening to someone because it's not everyone's like, oh, Trump saying stole the election. Well, just 2 years ago, the new spokesperson for Joe Biden got on and said that the election was stolen in Georgia from Stacey Abrams. So both sides have their concerns on the election. So election integrity is very, very important.
You mean we have to trust the government? Is that what you're telling us?
That's hard. Because now Laura is the government.
Well, that is true. That is very true.
She's my neighbor. I could pick on her.
Should I not say, do you trust the government then? But it's a good question, and it's certainly not a poke at anybody who's running any of the candidates, but
No.
it makes you sit back and say, I mean, because now throughout my travels, more and more people are like, I didn't trust them before this happened. They're, so it makes you say,
So,
okay.
but good election results in for everyone. Congratulations to those that won. Congratulations to those that ran a good race. Like I said, you can't get any tighter than 1,093 and 1,092.
And even Pandy at 1,091. I mean, it was very close for Board of Education.
Yes.
Very, very close.
Yeah, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. Once again, thank you, Grant Memorial Hospital.
Thank you
for sponsoring all of our election coverage. We'll be seeing you in 2 years, and we'll be back with it. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm getting ready to drop another podcast here in maybe 5 days, something like that. So stay tuned, everyone, and have a great week.